So I was just talking about this, things we're gonna build. This one, right? In our to-do app. Okay, create, view, update, and delete functionality together with the local storage, right? Local storage. Let's talk at let's add here local storage. You can add and get, right? Get from the local storage. Okay, how you going to store, and then how you going to retrieve from the local storage. Then we're gonna have the function, right? Function, we're gonna write, function for this, function for this. Maybe we're gonna do refactor also later, right? Refactor of our code. Okay, we'll see how we're gonna break it down in more functionality, right? Hopefully we will do that. But this is very simple like app, but it's very important one to understand, right? Like as a beginner, the first level of you're writing something together, right? There will be many functions, a lot of things together. Okay, so let's go back now. I see I added that link so you guys can look at later. Okay, or maybe after class. Let me, yes, right here, classroom JS. What I will do, I'm just gonna put one project here, like to do, or let's call it project to do app, right? So because this is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript project, we must need all that file, index.html, always, and then we call it to do, right? To do app. You're gonna need CSS, but maybe not, right? But let me add it. We're not gonna do any styling here right now, but I will just keep it. Okay. Good. We have that. Maybe what we can do is we're gonna put everything in the center, right? So let's have a container, a wrapper, right? Width of 90%, and so my container is 90%, and maximum width it can go 1200 pixel, and I will put in the center by giving the margin 0 or good. That is good enough. So after that, I need a script file, script.js, to write all the jobs. Okay, so console log, or let's call the function alert, right? Alert, and I'm going to say this is working, something like that. I'm just going to connect my CSS and all that, right? So link to CSS and also my JavaScript source./script.
Dave, you linked to the wrong thing. They didn't link CSS.
Okay, very good. So that is style, right? I get scared, right, when you talk. I say, what happened in my ear, I say, oh my god, I was just in different mode, right? Just got scared. See? But anyway, that's good, right? Very nice. You have to be, like, just pay attention to the details. Yeah. So now what I will do is what we can do now, right? So I'll just do one div, okay, simple div right here. and just add the wrapper, just the box, right? Class name wrapper, and we're going to do all the things here. So we have breakdown, I mean, how we gonna, this is just the preparation, right? Until now I have done nothing. Okay, this is just the preparation. If I put here heading 1, maybe, right? Let's add heading 1 and call it to do app. Correct? Simple. Let's go live view and check this. So see, this is working, right? Alert from JavaScript. Alert, this is a dialog box. Okay, and I have to do app here in the center. I mean, basically the 1200 pixels will be somewhere here, right? Like, it's okay. I can go here and put h1 like this and have a background color. Just make it some styling, right? But I don't like, maybe background color of orange, and add some padding, padding of maybe 10 pixel, and just put the text in the center, right? H1 in the center, the text align center, and also you can add border radius rounded, right? Maybe not rounded, this is not Kelvin, but I have to give it maybe 12 pixel or something like that. This is not CSS class, but I just make it something looks like this. Text maybe white, right? So that is color white. Okay, good. So now we're going to start our to do here. I just need to close that. So let's think of, right, the first thing what we're going to do is you want to create, right? Create CRUD, let's call it CRUD, right? CRUD. Always you're going to do these things. Okay, so what is CRUD? Create, read, update, and delete. So create means you're going to have form input field, you're going to type and add, and that is creating, right? Read, you reading from your database, and update and delete, right? So how you going to read? Okay, let's look at the read part, because you're gonna have HTML field and you're gonna create, I mean, you can do that, but let's make a place for reading, right? Because even when you create, you want to store in the place where you're going to read from. So place to store will be let, I mean, I'm just creating a variable where I'm going to store, right? To do is equal to array. Can I do that? Yeah. So what I'm going to store now, right? What is the shape of my data? Okay, what is the shape of my data, right? Shape means you can design, you're going to build a house. What will be the structure, right? Design of your house. So what is the shape of my each to do, right? Shape of my to do. So I need identification for each to do. I need a title. So let's go for work, right? Work, something like that, to do. Okay, and then you have title, maybe due date. Let's make it date, right? Or due date, something like that. When that we can put in a string, maybe 2024 02, maybe today is what, 28, right? Let's make it like that. So this is the shape of my data, right? That's the individual data. Every time I create data, I will get this shape. Always remember what is the, like, the lowest level of the shape of your data, right? You have to understand that, because once you know what is this, you will be always create, right, the same thing. That's the format. Okay, so one to do is stored here, index 0, right? And maybe I will add again index 2. Let's get go for shopping. or fishing, something like that. Okay, and date, maybe whatever date, right? Does not. I don't know. I mean, hopefully this will be the date. Okay, right? But it's okay. This is just a string. Does not matter. This is a string. This is just a number, right? Maybe we can make this also a string. So why we need to give ID, right? This will be helpful later, like to figure out which one, right? Which data you are updating or deleting or something like that. Which one? So you're gonna figure out from the ID or the index, right? So this is index one, or sorry, index zero, index one. Array now can store thousands of to do, right? Millions of to do. Clear? So that is the my storage right now. So the first thing I will do is maybe let's do it view, right? View or display. Okay. Read. I think, yeah. You can call it read, display, whatever, right? So I mean, you can do the uh, const like a render, something function like this, right? Or maybe display. Let's not write arrow function, the simple function. So this is the function, correct? You want to display now these things to the website, right? Here. How are you gonna do that? So remember, right? Yesterday I talked about the that's the div inside here. What I will do now, right? I'm gonna make one box where I'm gonna display something. So div is a box, and you're gonna display here. Let's give an ID, right? Of maybe render or view something. So in this box, I'm gonna display all my to do. Okay, clear? Later, I'm gonna have a div, right? Or maybe form here, form where you're gonna have the input, where you're gonna type something and create something, right? So that will come here later, not now. Let's do it later. But let's handle this display part first. So you will understand the data, right? How you're gonna, what is the shape of your data, and how you're gonna store here, right? I mean, just try to understand that part. So if I need to get each item from here, how I can do that? Because I want to get from this to-dos array and then display. How? So first, what I will do, right? Before even I read through here, I'm gonna read my render box. So let's do that. So let render equal to, how you can get that ID, document dot get element by ID render, right? That's good, simple enough. And you have this, or even, I mean, I think you don't need here, right? Okay, you don't, no, not gonna need, but let's leave it for now. Let's loop through here. Okay, so to do's. Now remember, I told you we're gonna use map, right? Map function like that. So what map does is, it's the for loop. It will give me each item now one by one, and that item is passed here as a variable, right? As a parameter to the function inside. Okay, so this is the arrow function we're gonna study in the next week. We're gonna start our year 6 JavaScript, like ECMAScript 6, right? Year 6, and then there we're gonna learn about arrow function, or any other function, right? We're gonna learn there. Or I mean, if you don't like arrow function, we just write simple function, function like this, and this is also okay. So we can pass here to do, but I feel like arrow function more clean, more clean. And how you write I mean, how you write arrow function, right? Same thing. This is the expression function. This is the function without name, right? Arrow function will be simple, the parenthesis, arrow, done, and this is the bracket now to write the code here, right? That is arrow function. You don't need any name, nothing, right? You have a parameter here, so that is all. You just have to know, okay, parenthesis, angle bracket, like equal to angle, and then curly bracket, right? That is arrow function. Same like a function, but more advanced, used a lot right nowadays. So let's keep it with, let's stick to the arrow function. So map is a call a higher order function. It will take another function inside, right? And that will be for now what I'm doing, arrow function. Okay, let's delete that. So it's gonna get to do, each to do. So this is the first one, that's the first one. Next time will be second one. So now I have to do, right? What should I do with that one? Because I need to display inside that render box. So how, right? How? So like every time I get to do, the best thing is I'm gonna make something like I'm gonna create one element, maybe, right? Like p tag, or maybe div, something. I'm gonna create one element, right? I need that element. Okay, so soon I have to do, I'm gonna create one element. So let p or paragraph equal to document. Let's create div. Let's put it in the div directly. Div equal to how you create element, document dot create element, right? Create element. Element is div. Clear? Now this div, when you create, this looks like like this, right? It looks something like this, correct? We saw yesterday. When you create element, it just like this now. So I need to add the text inside here. So how I can do that? Div dot text content, right? Equal to, so where I gonna get text from this object? Look at here, this object has id, title, and due date, right? Title and due date. So this is the object. So the to do is object, so I can do to do dot title and plus, and I will make a space here, and again plus, and then I'm gonna add to do dot due date. I can do that. Okay, so now my div has text inside here, like title will be let's go for walk, like that, and it's gonna have due date whatever, right? 02, something like that. Okay, so now this div is ready. I need to put this div inside this render box. So how I can do that? Now you can call this render box here, better, right? Let's call it here. Okay, and then after that we just call the render dot append. Append what? Div, right? This div is ready. You append to that render box, and soon you do that, it's done. Now we just have to run this function, right? So you just run in the global render, and let's check now our website. So you see there, you get that one and that one, right? Displaying. So maybe I will add some class here. So that's the class. Let's add a class also, right? And give it maybe, let's call it view. Okay, I just want to make it a little bit tough. Give it border maybe 2 pixel, solid red, and add margin top of maybe 20 pixel. Font size, let's make it little big, 18 pixels, something like that. So now it's just here. Okay, so you can see now, right, how you're gonna display the item from the data. Clear, guys? Clear? Everyone clear on this now? Let me go side by side. So now, so the benefit of this is what? What is the benefit here? Let's say you add item, right? Let's say I just copy this one and I will add it here again and again and again, like that. Okay, something wrong happened, right? I think I copied the wrong way. So just imagine, no matter how many data you add, right, and save, and you're gonna get that there. Look at that. So you just update, soon you update here, okay, and save, you're gonna get all that, right? Look at this. So you just, every time you save some data to your database, you're gonna display here, right? It will automatically display. Okay, I don't know why. Uh, so now now we understand that how these things work here. Any question, guys? Anyone? So we learn how to display something, correct? I will remove that. Let me format this code. Format. Okay, so I will leave this one here. What we're gonna do is now, the next thing is add to do, right? Add to do. We will come back here. Okay, anything need to do with the display, right? Anything to do with the display, you're gonna add the code inside this box. Display means anything. You have to just work with this function. So we're gonna have the view function, but sorry, add function, right? So how this will work now? Okay, let's create a form first, and then we're gonna work on that. You can, right now we don't need form, right? You don't need form. What you can do is simply, let's have an input, right? Text and placeholder to do, right? Let's call it to do, and that is the first one. And again, input, uh let's have, this input is not text but date, right? Date. And then you're gonna have an input, that is button. Okay, so type, we can make it maybe submit, right? So something is not correct. Yeah, the value will be submit. So this is just the input. Remember, input has something to do with the value, right? Here, the value. So whatever is the value, just remember, input tag has property called value. Okay, and that value will give us the data, right? Whatever data you write here, you're gonna get, whatever you select, that is the value property you're gonna access from value, right? And when you submit, it will, it should work, right? So how the next question is, okay, it has a value, right? It has a value, but we need to access all this in our JavaScript code. How? So my maybe better idea is to give a ID, right? ID, let's call it title, and this one ID, let's call it date, right? Maybe a due date. And this will be ID of submit, right? Or BTN, let's call it button. Okay, button. So when you click this button, you need to same time you need to access this thing, correct? So see how you're gonna type something here, and then you're gonna click the button, right? What I will do is I will just maybe, okay, let's add some style, right? So that is input. Let's give it some padding of maybe top and bottom, uh, 10 pixel, left and right I think 20 pixel, yeah. And font size maybe 20 pixels, something like that. So it's big. Let's add, I mean we can make it okay, let's add the margin top, right? Margin top of 16 pixels. So it will be just moved down, but I mean you get the idea, something like that. So when you type here, let's go to play football, right? And then date when, maybe there, and then you're gonna submit. So when you click submit, I want to collect this information. So important part is submit, right? Submit button. Okay, so now you look at all the ID, title, due date, and button. Clear? So let's work on this now. So first what I will do is I need a button. First thing, right? I want to need a button. So btn, right? Let btn, that is button, equal to document dot get element by id button. I want to check if that is working or not, right? I don't know if that will work or not, but let me try. So I click, right? So button, I'm going to click button dot add event listener. So this is the API of the browser, right? This is the function which will take two things, like kind of action and the callback function, right? So we can, so we're gonna, kind of action is click, and when the button is click, and then we call the add to do function, something like that. Just call the name of the function. You don't put, if you put parenthesis, then this function will run. You don't want to run the function, you just call the function, right? And the function will take care everything. Okay, so when you have add event listener, always make sure you call the function. Don't like don't put parenthesis, or you can just write another function here itself, right? This is also same whole function, like you can just write the function. The same function is replaced with the name, like add to do, and I'm going to write this function separately. I don't want to make all clutter here, right? So you can either just function like this, you can just write function add to do, and there. So let's console log, right? Console.log button is click, because I want to check if that button click work or not. Button is click. Good. So let's see now, right? What I will do, I need to go to the console, and it's very small, but I will try. Yeah. So here is nothing. I'm gonna just click the button now, right? And look at here, the button is click. You see that? So that means when I click the button, this add to do functions run. Okay, so it will be nice now, right? So when I click the button, when I gonna click by adding some some data here and selecting this and then clicking, right? So now when I click, same time I want to grab this information from that box. How? Because my function is running, I'll select title equal to document dot get element by id title, right? And I want to grab the value now. Oh, value, right? Because this will give me that input field, and input field dot value will give me the value. Because there is a value, it will give me that value stored in this variable. I will do same thing with the due date also. So here I will make it due date, and I will just change the id to due date, right? Like that, and the value. So let's first check if this two we receive or not. Console.log. I'll just have a title and due date, correct? So I have already information here. Just watch now, right? Here in the console, I did not get anything. So I will type again, just type something, right? And submit. Okay, so I get here. So there is a date and there is something I type, right? Okay, so that means it's working. I'm getting the information already. Okay, it's stored in this title and due date. So yeah, fine, right? So that means I'm getting the information. If I change here, let's say number like that, and I submit, see, I'm getting that thing, so I'm getting the data now. Okay, the one thing now, right? Remember, I need to save these things to my to-dos array because I'm going to receive. So my shape of the data is what? Like this. So I need an ID also. So how I'm going to get ID? So that ID is some kind of unique. So later in React, you're going to learn the library, maybe, you know, some libraries, right? Like CC ID, something like that. There are many libraries which will generate the like auto generate the unique ID, right? But here we will use some kind of technique, just to generate something unique. I think we can do is maybe we can just go length plus one, right? Can we do that? So here I will say to do's dot length. So that is right now 2, right? And here I need to add 1. So this will be the three number 3, correct? To do's dot length plus 1. So here is 1 2, that is length is 2, and I'm gonna get the 3 number here. So it will always give me the next number, right? I all the time. So I mean, just I get something unique. Or the another idea is maybe what we can do, the new, remember there is a new date, right? And dot get full time function. Okay, there is something like that you can do. I mean, what I mean is here, right? If you do new date, okay, and dot get full hour, full maybe time, I believe, like that. So that will give you this new time every second, every like microsecond, right? If you get every time, you're gonna get the new number. So that is also one way you can generate something unique. Okay, so maybe we can use, yeah, so let's leave it for now. I think that is fine. Or can we use that? Let's do that. Get full get full time. What is that time? I think get time, right? Yeah, so this will give ID also. Now once you have this, right, can you just now, just can call the to do's, right? To do's dot push. And what you're gonna push? The object, because the shape of your data is the object with id. So id is equal to id colon id title colon title and due date colon due date. That's it. So this is the property id title and due date, right? This name must be the same. So let's try now, guys. It's good to go. And then every time you add, right, every time you add this data, you want to call the function. Let's see, I delete. I just want to call this render function, this function. Okay, so let's call it here also. Now check the magic, right? I will make this big little bit so you can see clearly. Okay, let me remove, we don't need now, right? So I'm gonna add to do 3 and change the date here and submit. Look at here, you add, this is to do 4, submit, right? To do 5, you guys see something different now, right? What is the problem here? Anyone? So the problem is the data is repeating, correct? Yeah, go ahead. Who was saying something? Someone was saying something.
It's saving all the to-dos instead of just doing pushing one to do at a time. It's saving the previous ones and pushing it all.
Yeah. So what is the problem here is, see, when you add, right, we reach like 6, 7, 8 only, but every time you add here, you're just pushing one. Okay, you're just pushing to this here one, right? The only problem is it has the previous data also, right? It has previous data which is displayed in the page here, and when you call this render function, it will go back and read again everything, because see, every time you call this function, you running the whole thing, you mapping again and again and again, right? So the good thing is, before you run this code, you should make your box empty, this render box. So where every time you call the function, you just make that empty. How? Dot inner HTML equal to, so all the HTML inside, get it empty. So run this line of code and done, right? So save and look at here. So now every time this render is called, it will first clean the previous data, whatever is displaying in the box will be wiped out, and then it will read the fresh data from the to-dos array from here and then display only that much, right? Clear? So now if I go, let's call it to do 3, and I change the date here and add, see, I get only 3, right? If I go 4 now and add, see, I have 3, 4, means it's cleaning everything first and then display with the new value, updated value, right? Because it, this array has you adding everything here, right? If I go console log, I mean, you can see we are pushing this to do to the array here. Look at this code now, right here. You have created the object id, title and due date, and you are pushing that to the here. So every time you create this item, like when you click the submit, it will send that data to the this to do array. you add there, right? Store there, and then soon you store, you call that function render, this function. So that's why it updated in the page also. The job of this render function is to just display, right? Okay, so that is the render. Yeah, so now, yeah, we're done with the render. This adding also, right? Like creating, we done the creating part. Add to do. So what is the next now? Will be, okay, so we adding here. Let's do it here, right? Maybe update, and then we're gonna have final delete, right? Delete. Okay, so yeah, so now we're gonna have a function. Let's call it update. Let's call it update to do, right? To do. So how you gonna update now, right? How? I mean, here, how you gonna update? So you need some kind of button to update, correct? So every time you create this, you need to create the button also together, right? Because this is dynamically created, So, and we're gonna have later function delete, but let's talk about this update. This is the big part, right? So let's do the little bit of update. What I will do, right? I think if I keep continuously working on this, you guys will get mixed up. So I will do a little bit of work on the update, and you guys practice that much, okay? Whatever we have done so far, practice that, and maybe we're gonna work after lunch, or maybe tomorrow we will try to complete this. If that is okay, right, with you guys, or unless you want to just continuously finish this all right one time. Whatever you guys suggest me, okay? Just tell me. But better idea will be like, just do it in two parts. I think that will be fine. It will be easy to understand also. So okay, let's just do the update part here, right? Update part. So every time when I'm creating this div, because here is a div, right? Everything is a div, you create a div and you adding the content. I will show you now, right? In the box here, look at here. So you have the div, render div, right? And inside you are creating each div now. Every element or every object is a div, right? Where is the title and the date? I want to attach the button also there for update and delete. So when I click that button will be attached to every box, right? Every box inside. So when you click that button, that item will be removed or updated, right? So if you have update a button to update work, and then delete button to do the delete work, or to run the delete function or update. So let's add that one. So now I'm rendering this div, but before I render, what I will do, I'm gonna call the div right here, div. This is the div, okay? This is the div. So how I gonna add the button now, right? I don't have button, so let's create the button. So let update btn, okay, equal to, how you create any element, same thing, create element, right? And here, that is the button. So let's call that button. So we created the button. Now once you have any element, you're gonna add the text to that element. So button has some text to display, so let's do that. Update button dot text content, right? And we're gonna call it maybe update, like that, update, right? Okay. And then once you have update button, right? So how we know which button, right, we're clicking? You need to attach some kind of ID to that button, right? So let's attach the ID. So update button dot ID equal to which ID? Remember, this to do is an object and it has an ID also, right? So let's do that. We're gonna just grab to do dot ID. So now it has an ID also, right? done, right? So now our update button is ready. Our update button is ready, right? So what we can do is we're gonna attach to our div now, because it will be the child of the div, each div, right? So let's call the div here div, and because a button is the node, is an element, you will append it here. So that is update button, right? Clear? So let me save and see what happened, right? So you see that now button appear, right? What we can do is, even you can add the style also, right? Here some styling you can do here also. Update button dot how you gonna style dot maybe, right? I think dot let's say, how we're gonna add that, equal to, and I will put it in the string here, right? I'll call it maybe margin left colon 12 pixel. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it worked, right? And also, because after every style you have semicolon, and you can put margin maybe top colon, let's make it 12 pixel also. Okay, so it's separated now, you can see that. This is a button, right? If you want, you can make a button style general here, little bit of like, just call the button name, right? And then call it maybe padding of maybe top and bottom 5 pixel, left and right 10 pixel, just a small button, okay, something like that. So it looks okay. And you can do maybe cursor to the pointer, right? So when you bring your cursor, look like something like this. Okay, fine. You want to click this and then run the function, correct? How? So what is that? So I'm up to here now, right? I append the button, but before you appending the button, you must do like dot, I think on click, yeah, maybe on click is the, like I'm getting in the button, I have on click here, right? And then I'm gonna call my function name. So what is the function here? This name, right? Okay, so let's call that something like this. So this is close, 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 right? Fine. So you're just calling that. For when you click, you call that function, right? And this function is called, there is a now something called right, event. So when you call something from the click, there is event, and let's console log that event, right? See if this is working or not. Okay, so I'm gonna now inspect this page, so, and go to the console. So let me make a little big. This will be little big. I mean, this is a lot of work, right? So you guys have to be very patient. Just try to understand what I'm doing, okay, line by line. Don't worry the whole, just try to understand each line, okay? So if I click on update, right, look at here, I click update, I click the first one, this is the first one, right? So that event trigger, the event happened, right? Inside here, now I can access that ID. So let's go back somewhere, event dot target, so will be in the target, right? Target here, look at that, and that is the ID, the first one, right? So event dot target, and inside a target dot id should be somewhere here, okay? I mean, I can get that. I don't know where is that, but this, I think event here is the ID, right? So that any button I click, I have the information available to me to access. The button is the object now, right? That event, the event property is the object, and it will give me the information what I put there. when I creating the button, right? I just need an ID. When I have ID, now I can call the to-dos, like to-dos array, and loop through there and find this ID element object and do some update, change, whatever, right? I can do that. It's a long process, but you remember that is we access. So what I will do now, right? Okay, so when you have event also, right, do not, because every time you click the form, try to refresh itself. If there is a form, right, it will refresh for sure. So that's why there is something called e dot prevent default, right? Default. You just have to add this one. So what this means is basically we're telling the page, the HTML page, to not refresh, don't refresh, right? Because I don't want to lose the data, something like that. So you can add here, but I mean, right now we don't have form, right? So it will not need it. I mean, when you have form, the form always refresh. Okay, so right now we don't have form. It's just the normal HTML. So it should work without prevent also, but it's better to add it, right? It will not make any difference. Just Okay, so now how you gonna get ID, right? So let ID equal to e dot target dot ID, and if I console log ID right here. Okay, let's get the item, right? The item which I click, okay, by maybe simple. I mean, I have an ID, right? So, and the ID, my ID is the way I have created is like a ID -1 will give me the index. Okay, so I just do to do's ID -1 like that. I mean, this is a simple solution, right? But this is not the right way. Okay, let's go back and check. So I'm gonna add something to do 3 and add the date here. Okay, and then 4 add. So now go to the console. I'm clicking the fourth one and I get undefined, right? When I click, I get undefined. That means I'm not accessing the item. Okay, okay, so it worked for here and it worked for this one, but I did not get this one, right? Why? What might be the problem? So the okay, so now, right, maybe this ID is not correct. Okay, I mean, here is a number, right? Here is a number, and index is a number. Okay, so that is not a right way to do, but I mean, we can change, right? We can change this ID. Okay, let's change this ID to number. So what was that? Let's make it, just put a number, right? Maybe that will be okay. So now this ID is number. Let's see, add again. That is, I have never checked before, but let's try, right? To do 3, submit, 4, submit. Now I try to get the update. Still I get the undefined, but these two will work, right? So I don't know why I'm getting undefined. The function just returning. I'm calling this function and just returning maybe undefined, right? So ID -1. Okay, let's console log ID, right? Let's see. Just console log ID and see what we get. So if I do here, ID get 2, right? That is working. To do 3, submit, right? Click. Oh, sorry guys, I forgot. We changed to. I was still thinking about that number, I mean, what was that? I put the number, right, not the ID. This is not the index, okay? Because I was thinking here I added the number of the length, forgot I put the time, right? So see, this is, so index can be, I mean, this ID can be anything, right? If you have proper index, then you can do that one, but this is not the right way. That's why I told you this is not right way. I mean, this ID can be anything, unique ID, okay? So how are you going to figure out now? With that, you just have to, so you have the ID, right? That is okay. You have the ID. What we can do is now, to do's dot map, right? Or maybe you can use filter now, filter out, right? Filter, and here you're gonna get is to do, and what you want to get back. So I want that let let's go get it data, right? Let's call it data equal to do dot id equal to my ID here, right? So whatever I match that ID, filter means what? When this condition is true, that item give me back, right? And then console log. Let's check this object now. So update, and I get that update. Look at here, I get that 0. Whatever I click, right, I get that. If I click on the first one, I get that first item. Look at here. So later I can update this, right? I can update. But the thing is, how you can update? You have to bring this data inside here now, inside here, right? And then update. So that's the long story. We're gonna continue tomorrow, okay? So you guys, what you can do is experiment up to here. Right? Today, try to practice whatever we have done. So the next step, it will be easy to follow, right? Good, everyone, happy? Yeah. I mean, when I'm teaching that, is that clear? Like you understand line by line or not? Is okay, right?
Yes, I just need to go over it again, Dave.
You have to,
Some parts with the focus for me. Yeah.
yeah. So it you
So
have
I just
you
need
have
to
to,
go over.
like you have to do the revision like 2-3 times at least. Right? I'm telling you, in the beginning, the reason is anyone, right? Anyone when learning has the same issue. So I will suggest